Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships Select Ghost. This is number 21 in the set and released in 2024. This vessel was first seen in Star Wars Rebels, the animated show featured in 2014. So I don't know about you guys at home, but I really love the Rebels. You could definitely tell that the show got more money as time went on, but one thing about the show I really did enjoy was the Ghost. This ship, for those who don't know, is a modified VCX-100 light freighter made by the same people on Corellia that made the Millennium Falcon. So, it does have some lineage with what we know from Star Wars, but the ship is so different and fascinating. Based on my research, this ship is actually based on a World War II bomber, which is why it has that cool cockpit in the front, the gunner seats, and all that jazz. I love it. I like when Star Wars takes things from history and modifies them and alters them to something that, if somebody didn't tell you that's what it's based on, you wouldn't really know until you do the research and see some of the similar elements that are in that product. So, awesome job, one of my favorite ships, and we have a lot to cover today. So for those who are new to my channel, what I'd like to do is go over the ship, point out all the major sections, zoom in to see those beautiful details, then we'll put it on a stand, talk about the paint and other dimensions, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. Alright, looking at the Ghost, just like in all my videos, I will go over all the major sections, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. So let's start in the aft. In the back, we have our main engines, looking really good. Right here is the auxiliary craft port. As you can see, it is empty. We have a dorsal turret, our cockpit, and then right underneath is the bottom bubble for the turret. So that's pretty cool. Main entrance should be right down here. Then we have our floodlights. And also, this ship does have proton torpedoes. In one of the episodes when they're on Geonosis, they do fire them. And they do come from somewhere around here and here. So that's pretty cool. On the sides, we have our docking rings. Looking good. That's on both sides. Nice. And on the bottom, we have 3 rivets holding it together. Peg port for the stand. Some copyright crap. And this area right here is basically there to hold cargo. Uses some sort of magnetism or tractor beams to lock it in there, and then they drive away with these cargo canisters. Really neat. Besides that, right here, here, and here, we do have some landing gear, which is nice. Pretty dope. All in all, a very interesting looking ship. And believe it or not, where the crew live or sleep is only down this hallway and then right here. These portions are all cargo bays. Just kind of interesting. All in all, a very cool looking vehicle. So now let's get a closer look. Alright, for the closer look, we'll begin with the aft section and then move our way to the front on the bottom, and then we'll wrap around and look at the top. So back here we can see 2 rivets and ample amounts of detailing. Like, this stuff is great. We also have this little fin that goes all the way down to the engine section. But very nice. And if I turn it this way, you can just look at all those beautiful details. Pretty nice. Coming up, we have our peg port, landing gear, and then we have our sides leading to the docking ring. Looking good. Same for this side. And we have our docking ring. Then over here, we have some more detailing. Fantastic stuff here. Reminds me of the Falcon. Pretty cool. On this side, same basic thing, just minor differences. This is where we hold our cargo. And then right there is another rivet, obviously. We have landing gear here, and more details leading up until the bottom barrels of our turret. Really nice. And underneath here and here is our floodlights, which are nicely detailed as well. Now I'm pretty sure when this lands, this whole section drops a little bit because that's where the entry place is. But I do think the guns are a little too big on here. But it's okay. What are you going to do? Nicely detailed guns though. I'll give them that. So coming back, let's look at the aft section, the engines. Look here and here. Look at all those pipes and hoses, different modules. Looks like a Borg ship. Really cool. Now we come to our engines, and look at these bad boys. Nicely detailed on the exteriors. Wrapping around. Looking good. And then we have our interior, which you can see is recessed in slightly. Really nice. And then we have our main engines at the top, and you can see the beautiful detail in there. And that goes all the way around. Both engines are exactly the same, so we'll just focus on this one. Goes all the way around. And we have our recessed thruster area right there. Looking good. So continuing with the side, we have this nice little trench area, like a Star Destroyer or the Falcon. We have our docking ring right here. Looking good. Coming around. We have our floodlights. And then right here is the gunner seat. So somebody would drop down there and then control these laser cannons right there. And it is nicely detailed and painted. Looking really cool. Then coming around to our other docking ring. Looking nice. And then back to the engines. So for the top, you can see the engine section is very nice. It sort of blends into this major section back here. Looking good. Then we have more detailing coming up. Nice line work and raised sections. Same goes for this side. Just look at that. Beautiful stuff. For the top, this is our docking port for the auxiliary craft. So it doesn't have one in there. It would have been cool if it came with one that sort of snapped in or used magnets. But this is just a vessel, so it works. But nice amounts of detail in there. And then it sort of goes up. Some nice line work again. A couple seam lines here and there, but solid metal. Then we have our dorsal turret, which looks really cool. You can see the two barrels there. Nice. Then it comes down this way. Looking really good. And this is the cockpit right here. So pretty nice. Now coming down this way, we have our docking ring, which we already looked at, but beautiful detailing. Same for this side. Goes all the way down. Then we have this area here, which is our cargo hold, or one of them. Beautifully done. Here's our cockpit again. Nice detailed areas. Then we have our other docking ring. Really cool. I love the areas with the floodlights. I think those look really sharp. But all in all, a nicely detailed ship. Very beautiful. And that's everything I have to say about the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. This is a very neat looking ship. So now let's put it on a stand, talk about the paint and other dimensions, compare it, and then we'll be done. And now looking at that base for the Ghost. First we have our base plate with the Phoenix Squadron symbol. We have Ghost, and then in the front we have Star Wars and Hot Wheels molded in. And underneath, you guessed it, copyright crap. Next you're going to grab your pylon. This one doesn't snap, but it does lock in very nice. Next, grab your ship, put the ball into the peg port, and just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now looking at the paint on the Ghost, it features 7 different colors: gray, green, yellow, red, black, and at times what I believe is a dry brush of dark gray, and also a wash of dark gray. For its size, it measures in at 4.02 inches or 102.31 millimeters in length. For its weight, it comes in at 4.85 ounces or 137 grams. And now for a quick size comparison with the Starships Select Ghost seen in the center. On the right, we have the Millennium Falcon, and on the left, we have the T6 Jedi Shuttle. All in all, these are some fantastic looking vessels. If you want to see reviews of any of the ships I showed today, check the links in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships Select Ghost. This is number 21 in the set and released in 2024. Now, I looked at this ship. I think the detail is perfect. I love everything they did here. Moving on to the paint, we have 7 different colors working here. And even though I really love the green, the yellow, and the red, I really feel like they could have gave us a little more, especially on the engines. There's like no paint on them at all. The ship also does come with a nice stand to unify it with the rest of the collection, which I'm all about. So that's everything I have to say about the Ghost today. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, and as always, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch my show. I really do appreciate it more than you possibly can imagine, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.